Good morning. My name is Bertram Lawson. I am the President and CEO for the YMCA Greater Brandywine. And today I'll be talking to a great group of men centered around men's health. It's very important for men to have the opportunity to have a dialogue around health. Quite often men don't do that. There's some sort of stigma of having conversation that makes you feel a little more vulnerable. So I wanted to gather a couple people around the table to have this dialogue so we can share our stories, and hopefully it will encourage other men to do the same. It's great to have some board members with us today to talk about men's health. I'll kick off a little bit and talk about my own personal health journey. As you all know, that I'm trying to live life a little bit better, eat right and exercise. But going back now a little over 12 years, I experienced stage 3 colorectal cancer. So for me, I never had to experience something like that before. And it was very eye-opening for me that at 36, I can get that sick, almost to the brink of not being around. And it's because I wasn't taking care of myself. I want to see, I have some questions. Who has annual well visits with their primary care physician?
Has them, but doesn't take advantage of them. I'm supposed to go every year, right, for my annual well visit. And I either put it off or reschedule it because I feel as though I'm healthy, I feel fine. Then I'll just skip it and do it next year. And then one year turns into another. I use mine.
Why do you use yours, Rodney?
So I'm a prostate cancer survivor. I was diagnosed with advanced prostate cancer at 47, but it was discovered on a routine health visit, my annual health visit.
I kind of took a different perspective. When my wife and I were blessed with the first grandson, it became so much fun. And I looked at it and my wife said, well, you got to start going to the doctor more regularly because if you want to be there for them. I later on developed diabetes and high blood pressure, and I said, yep, I think it makes sense. I try to instill that into my grandsons at the very least. You know, you stay off those sweets, you stay off the shoe fly pie, you stay off the carrot cake, everything that I was on, that I kind of helped to develop that diabetes for me. And ensure that they become really, really active on a day-to-day basis as young men.
The next thing I would ask is, how often are you talking to your male friends about physical health?
I mean, it should, but I think that's the tendency in all of us. Everybody wants to admit weakness.
We should be talking about it. And the only time I talk about it with my friends, as it relates to physical health, is the colonoscopy. It's like, okay, I gotta go to my colonoscopy, and everyone wants to talk about that because you have to prep for it.
And that's the worst prep ever.
The worst prep ever.
It's interesting. Women have sometimes minimum issue having these types of conversations. I started having more conversations about my health and then asking my friends after my diagnosis with cancer, because more of my male friends started to ask me, what happened? How'd you notice? And then I started to get more comfortable. Previously, I wasn't having that conversation, even in the barbershop. Until one day I got a hot flash and my barber was like, hey, what's going on? And then I told him, he was like, what? Why didn't you tell me that? He's like, I'm the psychologist for you. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Yeah. I was like, no, I don't know. I was embarrassed. Yeah. But why was I so embarrassed about something that I had zero control over to a certain extent?
I just came off my blood pressure medicine. No one would look at me and think I had high blood pressure. In fact, my doctor looked at me. I was borderline diabetes. And he looked at me and said, I don't understand this. And he says, what are you eating? I do like pancakes. In fact, I'm addicted to pancakes. He says, well, how else did you eat them? I said, like, every day. He said, just one?
I said, man, I have like 6 or 7.
There's a difference between being fit and being healthy. And often we don't understand. And for example, you can be overweight, not have high blood pressure, not have heart disease, not have liver disease. You can be fit and unhealthy. Arnold Schwarzenegger won Mr. Olympia and had a mass heart attack. He had generational heart disease, and there was nothing he could have done about it. I think if we're not ashamed, embarrassed, to talk about things, we help ourselves and we help our family, friends, and all of us.
Who knows a number to call for mental health crises?
So I do know where to find it. Okay. I couldn't recite it to you off the top of my head, but I do know where to find it. And weirdly, the reason I know where to find it is I have friends that I grew up with who are in the mental health space. And so they've been very proactive, talking about early posting about if somebody's in need, this is where you go. And I've also noticed in social media now, there's been an emphasis on, if somebody posts something that's troubling, you see those numbers. And so it's made a real prevalence.
I will say in the last 5 years, it's become more mainstream about, it's a little bit more accessible of how to reach out to someone for mental health. Probably for the last 5 years, I started taking like anti-anxiety, anti-depression medicine. And when I first started taking it, it was like, I didn't want anybody to know that I was taking the medication. And now it's like, yeah, I take this medication, because I need to, and it helps me.
That's a good way to segue to thanking you all for your time and your vulnerability to have this type of conversation and share it with others that aren't in the room. You know, you all have a lot of important things to do, serving on our board of directors and being the community leaders that you are and the family people that you are. So thank you for the opportunity to sit down and chat.
Thank you.